Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday. Dee, surprisingly, is in the studio. He is coherent.
I'm relatively intact.
He has a pastel yellow sweater on.
I just got it, courtesy of our guest host.
Our guest host today, Paul Ripke.
I love how you say my name. It's great.
I mean, it's kind of like, like the white guy version of German accent, right?
Yeah.
Anand is out.
Yeah.
Living the good life. Looks like he's maybe field side at a Seahawks game.
Yeah, he's at the Bootsy Suite watching the Rams-Seahawks game.
Cool. So I guess, priorities. You learn people's priorities real quick on Sunday nights.
And maybe that's the karma. The Seahawks are losing.
Ha. Losers. Okay, so Anand's out. We got Paul Ripke. He's handing out hoodies. Is that my hoodie?
Yeah, it's not. Is it a sweatshirt or a hoodie when it doesn't have a hood?
It's a sweatshirt, though.
So I have a sweatshirt. You have a hoodie.
No, that's my hoodie, but I brought you a
Sweatshirt, okay.
Yeah, but I want to say something in German first.
Please.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen beim Group Chat Podcast. Es sind 3 Berufsjugendliche, die hier sitzen, und Drama sitzt immer allein auf seinem einen Platz. Das ist der Königsplatz, und alle anderen dürfen kurz sich aufs Sofa setzen, und dann darf man ihm zujubeln. Ja.
Is this propaganda?
I don't know. Because all I heard was my name. All I heard was my name and Anand's name. Why didn't you talk about him?
Because you're the white man. They know they can sell you in Germany.
Damn
I was
it.
Google translating live right there. He said, "Hey, thanks for having me on group chatting with these 2 idiots, Dee and Drama. They're so dumb, they don't know anything."
Damn it. That was too long. You could have said anything.
Yeah.
Well, you find out.
Well, shout out to our German audience.
He's brainwashing them.
What's funny is we have a small German audience from you being a regular guest.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
So for them, they all just understood what you said.
I can translate. I just said this is a monarchy, like not a democratic place, because you sit on a throne and the guests can sit on
the colored sit on the couch.
Welcome to America and to my podcast.
Welcome to Drama Land over here.
Okay, well, Paul, thank you for coming. Thank you for filling in for Anand.
Yeah.
We're excited. You're regular here, so we don't have to reintroduce you. Do we want to talk about his career change or no?
Yeah, I mean, this whole intro is going to be very rich because I just came from Art Basel.
Yeah.
Speaking of very rich.
Rich-ass intro.
Rich is Paul had this incredible job where he was doing content and social media for the Mercedes F1 team. And if you're just like a dumb American and don't know what F1 is, it's like the richest sport on earth.
Yeah.
And it's the best locations. It's Monaco, it's Singapore, it's Austin, maybe it's not, whatever. But like it's nice cities at the best time of year. And
Lewis Hamilton's personal guy,
and Lewis
right?
Hamilton is the guy, which so happens to be the greatest driver ever. And Paul said, "Fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore."
No thanks.
Yeah,
thanks, but no thanks.
Because he is printing
American
German currency
dollars.
doing his podcast.
From home in beautiful Orange
He's in
County.
Newport Beach peddling content to Germans.
You don't even have to go to Germany anymore.
Yeah, he don't even.
I just need a good internet connection.
So you and your partner just call in, right?
So the thing is, you talked about the Spotify statistics.
Yeah.
3 of the top 5
We're German.
were German. So it's a big thing in Germany, number 1. And number 2, Spotify is buying pretty much every big podcast in Germany to make it a Spotify exclusive. This means you can't market it properly. And so we're pretty much the only one left.
You're not on
which you
Spotify
No,
exclusively.
we're not exclusive. So we're the only marketable people, sort of.
So you're just cashing in.
Yeah, I mean, he walked away from probably the dream job for most content creators.
Yeah, not only dream job, but just an incredibly fun.
Yes, Formula
Yeah.
1 is the
Good
best
for
time
you,
ever.
Paul.
Yeah, but it's also it's been quite repetitive, and it's you should not do a job if you don't. I didn't put enough love in it in the last 3 or 4 months.
Sure, that's real sweet, but I feel like most people don't have that option, Paul.
What
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
didn't have
That's
your
correct.
podcast? You would not have quit.
For sure, I would. I did same thing with German national team after taking pictures of them when they
So
won the Soccer World Cup. So it is something I'm trying to do only positive related and future related decisions. I talked to Pete, by the way.
That's who
Getting a
you're
coffee.
bouncing ideas off of? Maybe you need to rethink about quitting that job
no.
if you're asking Pete.
Terrible idea.
He's barely working for 3 weeks.
What'd Pete tell you? Yeah, do it, dude. Fuck it.
Yeah, you don't need you have
Lewis
kids,
who?
wife, no big deal.
No, it's vice versa. I talked him into quitting his job.
That's what I was worried about.
Because
Where's he going?
nowhere. No, he said he's staying another 2 years, which is insanely far away, I think.
He told you that?
But yeah.
That's
So
smart.
we can- yep.
Why 2 years? What's your plan?
I don't really have a plan. I just said at least 2 years.
Oh, that means 5.
Yeah.
He's here for the long haul.
Oh, there's no way. I
this
shouldn't say
guy's-
no way 5.
Everywhere we go, everywhere all over town, wherever we are in the
Yeah.
country, they're like, "Oh, you're Pete."
Yeah, Pete loves it.
Yeah,
You
I'm
could always
famous.
tell Chad was a little 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Pete's all in.
Yeah.
He's not
people
going.
like people that I'll introduce him to, who are very important people. They're like, "Oh shit, you're Pete."
Pete's out every weekend with your friends. All I see is him, Taylor. You guys are all just chilling. I saw Pete in an art gallery 2 weekends ago.
I have a story.
He looked over. He goes, "Wait, what are you doing?"
I
I was
have
like,
a
"Where's
story-
Dee?" He's like, "I don't know."
I want to recap about Art Basel and our Brady Runs America,
Yeah.
but I'll just jump since we're talking to Pete.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was an incident
I
last
heard
night in
that
San
story
Diego.
too. Somebody called me from San Diego talking about Pete and a fight. Are you going to tell that?
Yes, I am. That's
It's-
exactly
it's
it.
word on the street of
It
Orange
went
County.
viral. So, our Taylor's business partner and good friend of mine, Parker, was at. They were at a MAGA country show, and they something happened. Someone said some slick shit to Parker. Parker kind of just responded casually, like not looking for confrontation. Parker's homie just knocked this guy out, who happened to be looks like apparently a Marine type.
No, he's just a San Diego dude.
Okay, not San
That's
Diego.
how you get respect, by just knocking people
No,
out.
but the guy that got knocked out.
Oh, yeah, he's like hardcore Marine dudes.
Okay, hardcore Marine dude socks him in the face. That guy body slams Parker's homie. Parker's punching this guy. Pete is nowhere to be found.
I was really
This is
drunk.
why
I
you're
was out
around.
drinking beer
This is
somewhere.
why like a Jewish guy like Taylor has you around, is hoping then God forbid something happens.
Pete, what happened, bro? I know you saw that coming.
I didn't. I didn't even know what happened. Like,
Where were you? You were off in the other room somewhere?
No.
You know what I
it was
did
a
here?
Giant standing area.
He's peak jackass. He then is apparently spraying beers and drenches some poor young girl, 16-year-old
This is
girl.
so some mom comes up to me and she's screaming at me, and I'm like, "What are you screaming at me for at this country concert?" And she's screaming at me and she's yelling at security over. I'm like, "What's going on?" She goes, "Your friend is pouring beer everywhere," and Pete's just getting beers and chucking, like squirting them in the air all over everyone. And then this one girl comes up to me like, super pissed off. She's like, "I'm 16 and I have a scholarship to college. I'm gonna lose my scholarship because I have to drive home. I'm gonna get a DUI for having beer on me, and I'm gonna get grounded and lose my scholarship." And I was like, "You don't get a DUI for having beer on you."
Yeah.
But regardless, it's kind of messed up that Pete poured beer all over you. He's just getting full
And-
beers and just tossing them all over the crowd.
And I don't want to dwell on this too much. I don't even care what you have to say, Pete. But what happened afterwards is even funnier. They all went to like an after party.
Yeah.
Small little hotel room to hang out.
Oh, no.
Pete takes a shit in a small hotel room with like 6 people there.
We go back at this girl's hotel, and it's like 6 of us. We're going to hang out, like some girls, some guys after the after party. We're all like coming back. Everyone like has to go to the bathroom. Pete goes in first for like 10 minutes. All of in the hotel room. Whole hotel room smells like shit.
This is unbelievable.
The girl
my
was
Pete.
like, "Did you just shit in my The girl was like, "You just shit in my hotel room." Pete's like, "I had to go."
And when the fight breaks out, you're nowhere to be seen. That's at least if you're gonna shit in people's rooms and stuff.
At least be the hero,
At
right?
least be
Yeah.
the hero to have
Yeah.
fight.
I'm gonna work on it.
Oh my God, Pete.
Things to work on in 2020.
Oh yeah, okay.
We got to give you a rule book. If you're gonna last 2 more years, we got to give
We
you.
gotta start laying some rules down.
The one night he's not with me, he's completely out of
Yeah,
control.
that's dangerous. We have seen that story a lot of times
Yes.
where people are in with the group and they sort of get empowered.
Yeah.
And then when you're off, not with us, you're shitting in people's rooms and
Yeah.
spraying beer on people.
Children beer. Like, what are you doing?
All right. Well, hey, that's Pete.
It's all going in my head.
So,
That's it.
I ended up in San Diego today, but obviously started my weekend going to Miami.
Yeah, give us a recap.
It was amazing. First of all, usually, when we go to Art Basel, the weather is always kind of iffy with the rain, but the weather was incredible. And these are all my observations. So I first got invited to a lunch that Hugh Blow is doing, and a friend of ours, Anish, that is the North American CEO of LVMH, invited me, and I got to go to this insane event. They reopened their store in the Design District in Miami, and then they shut down the Wynwood walls in front of Shepard Fairey's art, and hosted this lunch with just unlimited Dom Perignon, because they obviously own that too. And after that, Shepard does like a little talk for 30 minutes of like, you know, his whole history. You can ask him literally any question. So people were asking like really amazing questions. It's like 30 people. And what's crazy is like there's tens of thousands of people walking around idolizing his art all over the place. He's quietly sitting in the corner telling his story. And the interesting thing about Art Basel, what I've taken away, which it didn't feel like this in the past, there's something for everyone. Old, young, people have money, people don't have money. You can appreciate like the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And there's obviously things like what the event that I went to, which was just like ultimate luxury, like, you know, all these amazing people there attending. And they do an amazing job of capturing the moment and getting people excited about art. They dropped a collaboration Shepard Fairey watch, which I'm sure was very expensive. And that was also amazing. Then we walked over to like the Levi's house, and they're doing like laser etched denim. Anyone can sign up and buy a pair. And then like you can just walk into art galleries in Wynwood, like, you know, like you can every year. But it just felt like very inclusive.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, went to a bunch of parties. Our buddy Steve Veralis Gray did something with Puma. Midnight Studios had like a rave, and Rocky surprised everyone. And then the H-Word guys had Travis Scott. But I was told he was going to go on at 3 a.m. It's like 3:50. I'm losing steam, red eye. I bail, and he goes on right when I walk out.
Oh, you heard him.
Yeah, I heard Travis Scott, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But it was just too late. I had reached my peak. And I think the other interesting things I saw, so South Beach is dead.
Really?
Like, there's people, but it's not where the action is.
You're saying during Art Basel or in general?
I just feel like, one, have you been to Miami recently,
Yeah.
Paul? So South Beach, I've been going to Miami like 16 years probably. South Beach is where I always wanted to be. I wanted to stay. I wanted to hang out. I wanted to eat there. So during Art Basel, there's obviously the convention center where the main arts kind of area is. There's Wynwood with all the street art, and there's galleries all over, right? All over town. The best restaurants are in Brickell, which is more downtown. The art is in Wynwood, which is closer to there. Design District, which is this new shopping center that's like fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. It is like peak luxury, incredible restaurants. I ate at this restaurant called Swan that I think Pharrell's involved with. Incredible food. And South Beach felt like Times Square. Mm-hmm. Like every time I go back less and less, I'm like, why am I even staying here?
But I wonder if you're changing.
Well, here's the thing is, if I don't go to the beach, like when I go by myself, I'm not going to the beach. I had no one to go to the beach with. Yeah. If I was going to the beach, then I'd understand. Yeah. But if you're just going there for like the events and like the art, South Beach just felt like kind of, I don't know, out of touch with what's going on. This design district was so crowded. I'm walking down and this woman and her husband come up to me and they're like, oh, we love the podcast. We love what you guys are doing. I'm like, oh, what do you guys do? She's like, I actually have a store here. Her name's Gela Mizrahi. She actually is one of the women that has a streetwear brand at ComplexCon. Uh-huh. So she knows Neil. Yep. She had a store in the design district, so I went to it. Her husband wrote a book which is about design, so I'm gonna pass it along to you too to read. But it was amazing because like she's sitting there, she's from New York. Her and her husband moved down there 3 years ago, and they're building like a streetwear brand in Miami. Yeah. And you think about it, like there was never been brands out of Miami in the past that would be nationally recognized. Yeah. And I feel like that's an interesting moment happening. Like Miami seems a little more cultured than it did like 10 years ago, where it was just like this party scene. Yeah. That actually feels like some excitement's happening. In the design district, though, it is peak excess and luxury. Like every single person was wearing designer, head to toe. And so Dior did their fashion show. I don't know if you saw. Yeah. Earlier.
Collabing with Stussy is pretty crazy.
So Sean Stussy redid their logo. Yeah. Travis was front row. Kim, like the craziest people. They dropped a Nike collab. Yeah. And it's crazy the impact of that. Like that product, for the most part, is not readily available to sale. All I saw were guys with Dior bags. Yeah. Like the amount of guys walking around with Dior bags was nuts, and it just happened. Even the Dior Ramoa did a collab. That store was just like packed.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how like something happened on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and 8 hours later, everyone is walking around with the bag of that brand.
Yeah.
Art Basel also felt more fashion this year than.
Yeah, that was my one observation from the outside looking in was it almost felt like Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And I really think that next year Art Basel is going to be like insane.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be a combo of Paris Fashion Week art. Like I think the last few years you could slowly see it kind of building, but not like this year. Like every fashion brand or someone from it was out there. And I think like having Rocky perform at a Midnight Studios party and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening 2 years ago.
And I think the Dior thing honestly kicked the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Because it was like that Dior shoe is coming out. It's gonna be like $2,000. I'm sure it's gonna be the hottest shoe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what I think. I think like, man, it has never looked like that to me. It always just looked like, because Art Basel is all around like, for the most part, high priced art, right? Other than like Wynwood Walls and that stuff. But you would always see people from LA there partying, but that was it.
There was no business to be done.
No, it was literally just a party event. And so it was like, oh, everyone's partying in Miami, but no one knows why, really. This really felt like Fashion Week mixed with.
Yeah, and I think there's an opportunity now. I feel like every brand should be there.
Yeah.
Because there were so many kids walking the streets, just like having a good time. It felt like, I don't know what Mardi Gras is like, but it just felt
It's not like that.
Okay, it's not.
There's no Dior bags.
Okay, yeah. But it just
you.
felt like there was a shit ton of people in the streets, and it was just kids.
Like a rich ass Mardi Gras.
Yeah. But the energy was good. It was really fun. I don't know. It was awesome. It was a good vibe.
Well, I'm glad you made it. And then you made it all the way back to, you got to watch Brady run across the final part of America.
I landed, my flight got a little delayed. I landed at like 10-ish. By the time I got to the beach where they finished, they had just finished running, I think, 10 minutes prior.
Mm-hmm.
I get there, Brady literally finished running across America. Quick, interesting takeaway. So when I met Brady and Nate, your
My
beef,
enemy.
your enemy,
Yeah.
in Nashville, I
Is it still on,
predicted.
the beef.
Yeah, I think it's just unfortunately, I thought it was dead, but I think we're still cooking.
So I was like, I'm going to give you my prediction of what happens when you guys finish. This is in Nashville, whatever, a few months ago.
Yep.
I was like, I think you two are going to date.
Oh, Brady and
Nate.
Because they spent so much time together. Is this like a Brokeback Mountain scenario?
Yeah, they just like fell in love.
I wish I could quit you.
Yeah.
Like it's time to go home, but I don't want to.
Yes.
Got it.
That's exactly it.
Got it. Okay, well, that's a weird outcome. I didn't.
So-
that's not what I.
so
expected.
then-
Really weird prediction by D.
I know that is not what I
I saw this
expected.
RV and it just felt a little too confined.
Got it.
And then,
And you, I mean, you're the one who should have beef.
what do I have beef for?
You just said they were going to end up dating each other.
And then, so this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh boy.
I see Brady give him a hug. I see Nate give him a hug. And Nate goes, remember when you said you predicted we would date? I was like, yeah. And like, he kind of just like, I'm
Yeah.
like, are you announcing that today?
Give
like,
Brady a kiss.
Yeah, he just kind of walked away. I don't know what the exact answer was, but he's like, do you remember that? I'm like, yeah, I remember. I said it. And so I was like,
Oh no.
maybe they are.
Maybe
If they actually are dating, it would be the greatest thing ever.
Maybe some weird stuff happened in that.
Clear
RV.
the air. There's no way they're dating. Just
I'm just saying
want to
that.
clear that out there for both
I
of
just
them.
want to say that in 2019 going into 20, that's way better for the story.
You know why I don't? It's possible.
Why?
On the car ride home, Taylor drove. A buddy of his, which I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put his business out there,
Yeah.
has some very interesting hobbies.
Yeah.
One of the hobbies.
How do you know?
We were talking about it before. This hobby is apparently called. I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to sound crazy. What is it exactly?
Which one?
Oh no.
The one where you put the glove on your hand.
He's doing this thing where he's trying not to have, or he's not having sex and not jerking off or ejaculating for a year, but he's training to be like a professional, like giving women orgasms. So he did this thing where he got this training to be like a professional.
What's that called again?
I don't know.
I forget the name, but like Ohm something or
Omen?
I don't know. Professional like at fingering girls, and then there's this Facebook group he's in where the girls and guys who are certified, and they say like, "Hey, I'm open on Tuesday. You want to come?" He goes over there, puts on his gloves, fingers these girls, and just leaves. Like practicing.
And why does that tie into not jerking off? Does it make him less professional if he then goes home and
I
jerks
think
off?
his explanation is he's not jerking off as like a challenge or not ejaculating for a year as a challenge, but he still wants sexual energy and that gives it to
These
him.
young people are losing their fucking shit, man.
I was like,
All these
wow.
challenges and these like, you know what? I figured out a hobby. There's an app actually where you can go finger girls. And
But the thing is, he's like such a smart, cool, interesting guy. Like you'd be like, oh, you wouldn't expect. He's just doing it. Like he wouldn't even. He'd probably talk about it. He'll probably come on the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah, I
He's
think we
pretty open
definitely
about
need
it.
to
We
have
should
him
have
on the
him
pod.
on. Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because like I don't hang out with 20-something-year-old kids anymore. Just the amount of nonsense I heard. I was there 2 hours.
feel like they're
The
losing it.
unlimited amount of nonsense that's coming out of Taylor,
Yep.
and you're hearing about Pete shitting in the bathroom.
I think
and
this
then-
is what happens like when religion and like marriage starts to die out. You
Yeah.
know? You're just like, fuck it. So there's no rules?
After like 20 minutes, Dee was like, I think I'm just gonna call an Uber back to LA. And not be with you idiots.
Just hop out.
Yeah, because this was like in San Diego. We're still having these conversations. I'm like, this is bizarre world we live
Oh
in.
my gosh. Okay, well, listen, I just get the feeling that a lot of smart, ambitious young people today, with a lack of boundaries or rules, and easier to connect with other weirdos online,
Yeah,
it's kind of getting a little weird out there.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Get married, guys.
yeah. That's
Stop
what.
being a professional finger banger. Find a wife.
I mean, it's a professional thing. He takes it very seriously.
Sure.
The way he was talking about it was very like he was not joking around, but like
That's even scarier. It'd be more normal if he was like, you won't believe what happened.
I wish we'll see if we can get him on. He was saying some really interesting things.
he's a very very
Yeah.
interesting person. Like I really enjoyed hearing him talk. It's just a different. I'm from a different era.
That's a lot of feedback you got.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's been there's some other stories that I can't even share. That maybe at the live show we can share some of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And by the way, live show December 10th. Yeah. Peppermint Club. We're going to talk about professional fingerers,
Maybe we get it live.
and also we're going to talk about hotel room after party etiquette. Pete.
Yeah.
I had nobody to impress, man. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Okay. Are we ready to get into some news?
Yes.
But
Okay.
he also, when we first got to Parker's house, we're at the pregame. We're at the pregame. Parker had a little pregame at his house. And all of a sudden, Parker's whole apartments are selling like shit. And we're like, Pete comes out of the bathroom. And we're like, Pete, you just take a huge shit at the pregame? And he's like,
There-
yeah, I just had to shit.
There's just let me
There is an
teach you
etiquette to
something.
it.
Just because you're new to town, and you don't
He's
want
not
to be
new to planet Earth. You should know not to shit.
I'm not new to that.
you know what you have to do in a
I didn't
situation like that. Shut up. Listen, in situations like that, like I'll give you at
I'll never
the hotel.
apologize for that
At
stuff.
the hotel,
Yeah,
go
that
in
was-
the lobby.
Yeah, that one.
That is just stupid.
I'll give that one fault too.
Just poop before you leave your house, and then shower, and then leave the house. Don't even shower, then poop, then go party. That's weird.
So you pooped twice in one night.
dude, I'm pretty sure I ate something
What are you
whack,
eating?
Bro. Something whack.
Pre-game, and after party.
What did we eat
Poop.
that day? I don't even know what we ate.
These kids, man, we need guidance.
We need like an etiquette. Like we need
But,
we need
like-
to mentor men. Men are losing it.
Yes.
That's Jordan
Let's start with
Peterson's
me,
whole
huh?
thing, you know? These young men need mentors.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about like how to start a business. We're saying
No,
like
no,
basic
basic.
101.
Like
don't poop there. That's the name of
don't
your
finger
book.
girls all the time,
Yeah.
especially.
You should have a book. You should write a book called "Don't Poop There." Okay. All right. Who's ready for some news? Let's talk about the fact that fewer tourists are visiting America. Now, is it because all of our young people are savages and they're pooping all over at parties? It also looks like New York City has been pushed out of the top 10 world destinations. I would actually say this is a little alarming. I'm especially curious to hear from you, Paul.
As a foreign national.
Yeah.
And you obviously saw something great in America. Are we losing our lust?
Are foreigners just scared to come here?
Yes, for sure. Like Trump and everything has a big part of like I moved over here and then Trump got elected afterwards, and 50% of my friends said, so you're coming back now?" And I was like, "No, California is different and whatever." Like people honestly think that the open-mindedness of America changed with this very crazy person. being a president, and full-on Europeans, I can only speak for Europeans, don't understand why a person like that can be a president, and second of all, can do whatever he wants to do, and do rules like banning Iranian people and not banning them, and doing whatever he wants to do. That's something that's very unusual and very, it's for sure not helping the traveling. And second of all, Europeans, once again, only talking about Europeans, I think a big portion of this thing is Asians. Asians are probably not gonna be affected as much as Europeans, but in Europe, people are traveling less, a lot.
Why is that?
Because of economical reasons, and your president, America.
Don't point to me
no
and say my president.
Yeah, but
Well, you look like
it
him.
is.
Sheesh.
But it is like a lot of European new generations don't like to travel anymore, and it's far. It's 12 hours flight over here, and you see a certain amount of people thinking about it and visiting more local and doing.
Which
stuff
is
around
crazy
there.
because Europeans are white.
Yeah,
White people are welcome here.
Still scary.
sort of.
Still scary.
I know,
If
but
Paul's
like-
friends. I mean, Paul doesn't look like he would be stopped at the border.
Nah, he's not getting stopped.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
got blue eyes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the
He's Trump's
superior
dream.
race.
Yeah.
I never get stopped in a car as well, and
Yeah.
I don't even have a driver's license. I'm driving for 3.5 years now over here.
This is amazing white privilege.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Like
your friends who
officer,
look like you.
look at my eyes, my hair. Come on.
Come on, seriously, don't mind this little accent. Your friends who look like you still are sketched out about it, though.
Yeah, about the whole the whole American thing is for sure not helping.
Do we think
them.
that any of this has to do with social media or like, is traveling as a whole becoming less appetizing because people are?
I strongly believe in Sweden. There's like one of the biggest accounts tracks down every single influencer, whatever they do there, and then they do their CO2 kind of stuff they are responsible for, and then they write down who's leading that kind of thing, and then they proper bash them for traveling to Art Basel, for example, just for party and for stuff and whatever.
Wow.
And that's something that people get, like whatever, even when I'm posting, and that's one of the reasons for Formula One, like my CO2 footprint is horrible because I'm constantly traveling around the world. Just
Private
come from,
jets.
Are you on a
it's
list somewhere?
Like
Paul, this was how big his.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm carbon offset printing, offset. What's the name for it?
Okay.
That you pay for it, like
Yeah.
you and I do have, but still, it's still a very bad
That's
influence.
crazy.
Like, and the impact is horrible, and that's something people care about, which is good. As a European, we Europeans care way more about this planet as you Americans do.
Yeah,
so, and
definitely
that's
do.
for sure affecting traveling, combined with.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Yeah.
take away the Trump scary stuff, social media, whatever stuff. Is the United States becoming less attractive just in
Yes.
general?
For sure.
I mean, if you look at these numbers, Hong Kong is the number one most visited city, 26 million. Bangkok, 25 million. Macau, 20. Singapore, London,
Macau is
Paris,
insane, right?
Dubai, Delhi, Istanbul, Kuala Lumpur. So the trend is, one, I think Asian people are traveling way more. And I think there's clearly Chinese people are definitely coming less to America. They were such a huge part of the tourism here. And these Asian cities are just becoming also more desirable to visit. And I think young people, like if you talk to a young person, American person, think about where does Chad and like all these, they go to Bali, they go to Thailand, they go to all these different places.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's pretty amazing experience, reasonably priced. And like, I don't know, I think it's also much more welcoming people like in places like that if you have a little bit of money. So I think like the demographics are shifting. Hong Kong's an amazing city, and I'm sure this is driven by the amount of mainland Chinese people coming there. Bangkok, my guess is there's a lot of mainland Chinese people, and it's just a very populous city as well. Macau is definitely mainland Chinese people. So I just think, and even Singapore, the amount of people I have, the amount of friends I have that just visiting Singapore for the sake of visiting now, that never happened like 10 years ago. So I just think things are shifting in where people are going. But New York is definitely, the fact that New York fell off a cliff on this list, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, blame Trump. Seems to add up.
I think that's one part of it. I also think the rest of the world is also becoming more attractive to visit.
You know what's funny is I've recently been really into, I don't usually go too deep into like horrendous content, but lately I've really been into 90 Day Fiancé.
Okay.
Not sure if either of you guys have seen it.
I'm familiar with
it.
what it is.
It's incredible. So essentially people meet usually on dating apps, someone from a foreign country. All they want to do is fall in love. The reason why it's 90 days is because that's how long you have to get your visa or whatever, or get married or else you have to go back. And the issue of Trump and how scary it is to come to America comes up very frequently on the show. So I've been super educated by that.
Okay.
And,
that might be. I mean, that could be it then.
It's a huge thing because like everyone, they always meet their loves in these other Africa and these other places, and they're scared shitless to try to come here.
That's crazy.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, we have to dip into some slightly depressing topics. First one is the shooting at Pearl Harbor. Apparently the gunman was a Saudi. You know better than I do, Dee, but was a Saudi
This
citizen.
is the Pensacola shooting. There was a Pearl Harbor shooting.
Oh yeah, wait. Wasn't the Pearl Harbor guy a non-American?
I have not read enough about the Pearl Harbor. I've been following the Pensacola one, which is a 21-year-old Saudi Air Force lieutenant.
Okay, so tell me about Pensacola.
So Pensacola, Florida, there was a shooter using a 9mm Glock 45 handgun that it was legally purchased.
Okay.
And he was here on a program. The American military has a relationship with the Saudi armed forces who come here to get trained, and he went rogue.
Mm-hmm.
And they're calling it terrorism, and they just don't know if he was radicalized here, radicalized there. But the fact that he's a Saudi military person obviously clearly got into the country, no problem. And they had this on a naval base in America. It's kind of a bad look. It's a disaster.
Disaster.
And I think it's a mega disaster
Yep.
for American military that this was even possible to happen. And the problem is the gun was legally purchased. So like the theory that if, these illegal guns that are causing all the problems. But it's just, if you put aside the radicalized part, the access to the gun is still the first major problem because the amount of people that got shot is insane by one person. And it's just sad that these things continue to happen. There was a shooting at Pearl Harbor. Like, I'll give you an example. It's
For
not
the
like,
record, it looked like the Pearl Harbor guy was from Texas. I mixed up the two.
Got it. And the bigger issue is that, like, in London, the last week and a half, I think there was 2 stabbings or maybe even 3, right? They're fucked up, and it's crazy that those things happen, but it's stabbing. It's not a machine gun or an automatic weapon that is just killing people endlessly.
But also, with this, you said it was a Glock, right?
Yeah.
Which is like as basic of a handgun as you can get, and you're on a Navy base where there's a lot of trained people with weapons.
Yes.
And still, you can just do so much damage.
And that was the other argument, in my opinion, is like they always say, as long as other people are armed, this is a freaking naval base. Everyone is armed.
Yeah.
If this person did this much damage, imagine if it was a school.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
There's one, I read an article about another European thing. Like I think 4 biggest shootings with dead people afterwards all happened in Europe. Like Germany has 2 big ones.
Yeah.
The Paris, and then probably Breivik, the right wing, was it Norwegian or Sweden? Like one of the northern. And one of the big problems is nobody can handle it if somebody comes around. That's why so many people die in European shootings.
Yeah.
And this number is way lower in America because everybody's aware of it.
Yeah.
That's a total different. Makes it not better, but still people.
But I would assume the
stop it.
frequency is much lower in Europe. Yeah, right?
Yeah, way lower.
Yeah,
like
it's not
a
happening
10th
like
or
this,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But also people know how to handle it at the end. That's something that's different. Like,
which is sad that we
very
have to,
sad, yeah.
we have to learn how to handle a shooting. Like, I'll be honest, anytime I'm in a setting with a shit ton of people, I'm freaked out.
yeah.
Except Art Basel.
I was drunk.
I just don't feel like that's really the
I know, but like when you just don't know anymore, like
Yeah.
London Bridge, like these are like places we've all been, like walking around. It's like crazy.
Yep. And it looks like this guy hosted a dinner party where he watched videos of mass shootings.
Yeah. So originally they said there was the night before. That wasn't accurate. It's at some point before the shooting.
Yep.
He had, I like to play music during dinner parties.
He likes to watch mass shootings.
He chooses to watch my shit.
And it's just like when you think about like red flags, but was everyone there? It said there wasn't that many people there.
Yeah.
Was everyone there like
Part
down
of his
for
crew.
the
Yeah.
call? Because you would think if you're ever going to get a warning, that would
Yeah,
be it.
like time to call the police now.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. Well, unfortunately, it's a very common topic here in the United States.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Probably also part of the reason why no one's traveling here.
Yeah.
Okay, another piece of sad news. Then we'll get back to happy. Juice WRLD died.
Yeah. This is terrible.
21 years old. Juice WRLD is a rapper, singer. For those of you who don't know, huge. Had a huge year.
My most streamed songs were Juice WRLD in 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
2018 or 19?
18.
Wow. Okay, so huge. Just a huge art. I mean, I don't know. Massive. At the
Massive
absolute
artist.
Top of where you could possibly be. At
And
21 years old.
incredible artist. Like, he's like, of the young kids, he was definitely my favorite.
Yep. So I think Lucid Dreams was his biggest record,
Yeah.
or one of the few. If you're not familiar with him, that's the one you would have heard probably.
Yeah.
But it looks like he flew on a private jet from LA back to New York Saturday night on like a red eye type situation. It looked like. There's video of him on the plane, super messing around, squirting water on his friends,
Yeah.
whatever. Apparently, they're saying he landed and was walking through the airport
In Chicago.
and collapsed and had a seizure and died.
Correct.
So I don't know. Obviously there's a lot of room to speculate.
Yeah, I mean, when you're 21 years old, and most 21-year-olds are relatively healthy.
Yeah.
He was known for doing a lot of lean, a lot of pills, God knows what else. I mean, he has a whole song called Lean With Me. So it's like he clearly glorified all the worst of like drug use and drug abuse. He said that in an interview, Future inspired him at age 12 to start drinking lean,
Yeah.
which then Future stopped, apologized to him,
Yep.
and stopped drinking it himself because he realized the impact he was having on people. And the problem is Juice WRLD is so fucking big. There are so many kids who started drinking lean because of him.
For sure.
Like probably millions of kids
Yeah.
all over the world that are doing it because of him. And he died. Little Peep died. Like all these young, like super talented artists.
Yeah.
All dying because of drug abuse. I don't know how you solve this problem.
Yeah, I don't either. But it also seems like with this like young generation of rappers, like all the older rappers talk about it, like they used to glorify being the drug dealer.
Yeah,
Then there was like this generation that kind of glorified being the drug user.
that's true.
And I don't know, unfortunately, I think there's an element of it that's a trend just like any other trend. And I think to some degree it trends out. But I also think that it's a reflection of what like is happening in the country. Like opioid use and that stuff is through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think that these kids, like a lot of those kids, he was from Chicago, a lot of them are from Florida, like places where this stuff is huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids are just taking pain pills and stuff like that anyway, regardless of if you're trying to be like your favorite rapper. Or maybe their parents have overdosed on medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I hate to like jump to conclusions. It just seems like in some way that must have led to, because you don't usually see 21-year-olds,
No.
just passing away walking through an
The
airport.
amount of young people in America that are dying because of drugs
Yep.
is insane.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's such a national crisis, and like no one's really doing shit about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least the, you see these big pharma companies going
Yeah.
on trial. That's a huge step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a rough thing. I feel bad, to be honest. I'm getting to the age where I feel bad for young people because this is their hero.
Yeah.
And they now glorify that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, young people don't usually look at stuff like that and say, gosh, I'm going to make sure I don't ever mess with drugs. They kind of glorify like the lifestyle.
Yeah, like he went out on top. Like,
Yeah. So we'll see. But obviously, we'll probably get more information, just like you always do. But super tragic. I mean, literally, you couldn't have been any more at the peak of your career.
yeah, it's so sad.
Okay. On that note, let's take a minute. If we have ads, put them here. And we'll get back to regular news. And we're back. Okay, let's talk about this. So Amazon and Facebook, it looks like, are opening offices in New York. The reason this is big news is because these guys shopped around. They kind of went on a little road show. What city wants us? What city wants us? And every city was bending over backwards to offer them tax breaks and all these crazy things. At first, they didn't end up choosing New York, and now they've kind of, what feels like had to go there anyway. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I have no idea, maybe you know better than I do, whether this is any sort of, whether they're just taking credit for how things worked out or not. But, of course, Bernie Sanders and AOC are jumping in and kind of riding the hype of this, saying, I told you so, they had to come here anyway, blah, 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 we won. I mean, is that what happened? How do you see what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Amazon signed a lease on Friday for 335,000 square feet in Hudson Yards. 1,500 employees are now going to be hired in New York City. A few weeks earlier, Facebook leased more than 1.5 million square feet, and they're currently looking for 700,000 more square feet. Originally, Amazon was going to get a $3 billion tax break to open an office in Long Island City in New York. And AOC and Bernie Sanders were like, why are we giving the largest company on earth a tax break to open an office here? It's going to displace locals. It's going to, it doesn't make sense. And I actually agreed with them on that notion because, like, if Amazon and Facebook have to open offices in New York City, big offices, because they need the talent. That is why you open offices in big cities like New York and LA, because the best talent in the world still lives in the big cities. Mm-hmm. So they really had no choice. You can go and open offices all over the place. There's just not enough top-level talented people, and they need those people. So it's a huge win, in my opinion, for like an AOC and a Bernie Sanders who's running for president, that he was able to hold ground, kept pushing, and saying, no, this isn't right. And by the way, now they're opening the offices, they're paying their rent, they're hiring employees, and they got no tax break. So I think it's a huge, huge win politically for these people. Yep. And Amazon, at the end of the day, like, it's no sweat off their back to sign the lease and open an office in New York City. Yeah. It's nothing. They don't need the $3 billion tax break to open an office in New York City. Yeah. And by the way, it's New York City. It's not like they're convincing them to open an office in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. Birmingham, Alabama might have to give Amazon a $10 billion tax break. Yeah. But New York City, you have to have a huge office in New York.
Yeah, it does feel like a win for them in the sense of, like, I feel like when Amazon not paying taxes, whenever that was 2018, whenever that was, got quite a bit of traction. And I think smaller version of like the financial crisis, where like it's enough to ruffle people's feathers, but nothing was done. And I think that just continues to add to this like sentiment in the country of like, the rich can do whatever they want and the poor are out here struggling and whatever. So I do think like them having to kind of fold on that, or at least what appears like that, is a win for the AOC side. Like, I see why they're claiming it so hard.
What do Europeans think of like Amazon, Facebook, Google?
It's a weird situation because in Europe, they are all in Ireland, where they kind of don't, it's a little bit that kind of, they go to countries where you don't pay taxes, and then they move every revenue they could possibly
Ireland or whatever,
move over there. And it's like it's full on fraud out of, like, the big American companies are like Facebook and Amazon especially. And
Apple has all that money sitting in Ireland.
Yeah, it's insane. And like, it's not, people don't really like it, but also Germany has to look out for, we have a big problem with, we have a different system for mobile networks. So 5G, for example, we're giving out to. There's a big thing about Huawei as well, because they're part of the licenses as well in Germany, and you're giving it out to bidders, and we're losing a lot. It's a little bit comparable to Japan, that was hot 20 years ago and is now a little bit in between to come back or not. Yeah. And that's what Europe needs to, because the European thought at the end didn't really work out. You know, like there's problems to Europe, and then you see France 2 days ago, biggest strike in history, I think, and Macron is not even close to do what he wanted to do, and it's like all of these things are happening because also in Europe we're electing personalities all over a sudden. Or UK is a mess. Yeah, it's crazy, and that's something we need to figure out. And then stepping in with Amazon and Facebook. Facebook has a huge problem in Europe as well, because
the antitrust in EU are coming after Facebook.
They full on sue them. Like, it's the biggest amount of money they had to pay was in Europe, I think. You can't do anything about it because they're ruling the world, I think. Like Amazon
so
as well.
Wild.
And it's
well, at least New York got to win.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. Collect those taxes.
Yeah, why do you have to give them tax breaks? It's a joke.
I agree. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Here's the final topic, and this is a doozy to end on.
Yeah.
So I had no idea until this was brought up that there was a fight going on to legalize sex work. Mm-hmm. Didn't really hit my radar.
Yeah.
And apparently there's been big hearings about it, about trying to pass it in D.C., it looks like. And
Isn't it funny that it's Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I love it.
You know why? Because all those politicians religiously fuck hookers.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
They do. Yeah, I agree. They're a huge market.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, they've had hearings and stuff about it there. Apparently, this is a really common, once you start reading into it, there's a lot of people fighting for this. Mm-hmm. Now, take it as you will on just the basic, should it be legal or should it not, whatever. The thing that's interesting is apparently there's some kind of proof that the rates of violence against women dramatically goes down when this stuff is legal. Yeah. So there are some practical reasons why we should do this. I think people have similar arguments about legalizing drugs and stuff like that. I don't know. This is out of my wheelhouse. But in my opinion, if it does indeed lower violence and that stuff against women, why can't women do what they want in that aspect?
So I think there's a couple issues. One, there's like a moral issue, because if you do legalize it, like, people argue that it ruins the moral compass of the people of that neighborhood or whatever.
We don't have to worry about that in D.C.
Yeah, and then that was already ruined. Yeah. Then you have the thought process that it actually reduces violence against women. So there have been some studies that have proven that could be the case. But gambling's becoming legal. Marijuana becoming legal, I don't even compare it to the same thing, because I don't think it has any bad impact on society.
I think gambling
has a
way more dangerous.
Yes, I actually think legalizing gambling is one of the scariest things, because people do not have self-control. Mm-mm. And as we just start slowly kind of decriminalizing all these things, I don't know what the negative impact legalizing prostitution has, other than like probably ruining families.
Yeah.
That's probably like the number, but so does gambling. It's just there's obviously countries in Europe where it's legal and it's
full on.
Yeah, it's like not a big deal, and it's part of the culture. And a lot of places in Asia where it's just part of the culture.
Stupid question: is it legal in Amsterdam or is it just overlooked?
No, it's legal.
It's legal.
It's legal in Germany as well.
Yeah,
and it makes a big difference in the society, because people get appreciated that they do a proper, or women who work in that industry get appreciated that they do a job. They have social services and stuff like that, which is important, I think.
But what's it like? Like, if you're married with kids, can you just go fuck hookers?
Yeah, sure. Everybody can.
Legally, but not like...
No, but it's like, it's okay. Like, women don't... Like, your wife wouldn't care if you just... I'm going out with the boys tonight. We're going to go get some girls.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think the police just don't care. Your wife would probably care.
But if it's so common, they may not care, is my point.
Well, let's ask Paul. He's right here.
The moral system still works, and people still think it's... Or I personally think it's not a very good thing to do. But
Yeah.
but it's I don't think making it legal or illegal is helping the moral situation. And
Yeah.
in Germany, in Berlin, for example, the biggest place is advertising on taxis and like they run full on ads for Artemis, like the biggest
Yeah.
place in there. So it is full on legal, and there's an industry around it which helps it decriminalize. Like it is proven that less women who don't want to do that job then do it. Like
Yeah.
because if it's in between,
It's not
and-
sex trafficking
yeah,
and
it's
any
no
of that
sex
stuff.
trafficking.
Because here's what else
Something
I would argue is that potentially, like, it seems like what causes things to feel so slummy and shitty is the fact that it's like stuffed into the back alleyways of like here.
Yeah.
It's so grimy, and like whereas there it seems like when it's allowed to just
It's
be
like going to
out
the
in front,
movies.
it's like, yeah, make your own choice, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like the slums.
To
Like,
be
does it-
fair, it's kind of the same thing with drinking age in the United States, which for me doesn't make any sense to have it at 21. Like in Germany, you can drink with 16, which is where normal people have their first beer and their first alcohol. Like
Yeah.
Pete probably was drunk.
At
14.
12.
It was
At 12,
14, I
and
heard,
his-
yeah.
with
Came out
his-
with a beer in hand.
No, but honestly,
Shitting in
when did you
beer.
drink for the first time?
He's been shitting in after parties since 12.
Ain't nothing new around
When was
here.
your first alcoholic beverage?
Don't even know. Early high school.
Like 14?
14.
Yeah. In 14, 15.
Which is human, probably. And this country thinks it should be 21, which doesn't make any
But you
sense.
can get a pistol.
Yeah,
18.
which doesn't make any sense as well.
Yeah.
And that's something I think the state should make laws that fit the human kind of things and that protect the people in it.
Yeah.
And part of it is protecting the woman in this case who do this job. And I think they're better protected if it's legal and if society accepts that this exists
Yeah.
and not that it's in between and underneath and nobody talks about it.
Because is that, I mean, once again, not to be repetitive, but in Germany, is it just looked at like a strip club or a bar? It's
Full
like,
on.
that's not for me, but people do it. Who
Full on,
cares?
yeah. And there's a fair amount of tourism in like Hamburg, for example. I lived in Hamburg for 12 years. There's like full on
Sex tourism.
Yeah, and people go there, or people go to those places, and 2 out of 10 people of a group of partying people use the services. The other 8 wait and talk to people, and it's like it's accepted.
So
full
that'd be
on
like,
accepted.
is the rest of the place like a strip club kind of? Like,
Yeah,
what do you do if
yeah.
you're not one of the friends?
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. You have a drink.
I mean, there's these stories about
It's like 11.
Joe Biden's kid in the VIP room, like ordering dildos and stuff. Did you see all those?
No, where?
In D.C. in a strip club.
Oh, so he loves this law.
There's stories like from the local strip club that he like personally requested a dildo because he needed a new one. The strippers used it on him.
Wow.
They believe he was smoking crack. They smelt a burnt styrofoam type smell. They said, "Hey, no drugs in here." So they're doing it anyway. You know what I mean?
Joe Biden's kids are really out here.
Let young Biden just go do it legally.
Young kids, man.
Yeah, I mean,
These days.
I can't relate to anyone under 30 anymore.
Well, keep in mind, I think he's older. I
Yeah.
think-
This is your generation smoking crack and getting strippers put dildos in them. We're over here just not jerking off. We're pretty normal.
That's not normal.
So you guys would put like a challenge to it, like the dildo challenge for 1 year.
I'm going to shove dildo up my
Yeah,
ass
we do it for
every
purpose.
day.
We have purpose.
You just need a hashtag.
Exactly.
Hashtag dildo challenge.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's what we got, guys. Paul, thank you so much. You're always, a great guest.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you
Pleasure
drive
being
up
here.
here for this?
Yeah, sure.
Look at you, man.
No traffic.
And Taylor, what's our newsletter?
We're talking about how Peloton got destroyed by the internet for this ad and how quickly Aviation Gin and Ryan Reynolds swooped down on it and just how they got the actor from the Peloton ad in their ad, released it within 6 days because Peloton had this ad. It went viral for this like really thin wife getting a Peloton from the husband where he's insinuating that she needs to work out more and she has to like get his approval and just like it's a pretty cringe ad.
Yeah.
Twitter went viral, like absolutely viral, just shitting on Peloton.
Yeah.
This Peloton wife, as she was dubbed by the internet, got so much hate. Then a couple days ago, just within a week, Aviation Gin puts an ad where she's at the bar with her friends and she starts chugging this gin. And then she says, "Sorry, it's been a tough week." She grabs her friend's gin, chugs that one too. And her friend goes, "And you look great, by the way." Just saying like you don't need the Peloton. Which it's so amazing because Peloton wife is a thing now. This is a viral meme all over the internet, is Peloton wife.
Is that Ryan Reynolds' company?
Yeah.
Well, Aviation Gin is the one that moved quickly. But Peloton wife, she's like a valuable asset. Not the actress, but Peloton wife. Almost like the backpack kid or whatever it is. Like Peloton wife is a thing, and she's not going to go away. We're going to see Peloton wife. She was on SNL. They talked about her. Peloton wife is going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
Peloton is screwed.
Yeah, that was just.
I think they
Peloton wife is great.
Yeah. Peloton.
She was a high school or aspiring high school teacher. This random like mom actress, like nobody. I think she has 10,000 followers. I looked her up, but she's about to blow up. She should change her handle to Peloton wife.
Yeah,
and just
she
go
really
viral.
should. Probably get sued by them for doing it.
They really messed up. I think this really sticks. Like I think this really affects business.
Well, their stock went down 10%, unrelated, but everyone's like, this ad came out and the stock went down 10%.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
They've
you
done
know?
things before too. Their other ad campaign they got roasted for last year because they'd have Pelotons in just the most beautiful apartments. Like
We talked about that.
you guys talked about in the podcast.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this unassuming $3 million apartment in the middle and it's not plugged in.
It's not plugged in. It's like, and like the internet was being like, oh yeah, I love putting my Peloton bike in the middle of my apartment, my $4 million.
What I don't understand is this is a $9-10 billion company. They can go hire Wyden Kennedy, who does all the Apple ads, and or you know people.
Taylor Parker Agency.
Taylor Parker Agency.
They can afford it.
Yeah. And they are not getting anything run by these people. Like, who's running their ads?
Yeah.
I mean, the same people that are running their company, don't the financials make no sense? And
Yeah.
It's just like, it's all
all
part
fuckery.
two.
It's all fucking.
Seems like a bunch of fuckery. I think they just got a bunch of VCs to ride the bikes and be like, oh, endorphins are nice. I like this. And then just keep giving money because the VCs use it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what our newsletter's about.
Yep.
Giving a full breakdown.
Yeah.
Group-chat.com.
Group-chat.com. Make sure you go subscribe. Make sure if you have subscribed and you're like, this newsletter seems really fun, but I haven't seen it yet, maybe check your spam folder. Get it out of there.
Yep.
December 10th, we are at Peppermint Nightclub.
Woo!
Make sure you send us an email, RSVP, live at group-chat.com. Send the email. Put your pluses on there, whoever you're bringing with you. Make sure you reserve a seat. It's going to be really, really special.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Okay.
Follow us on TikTok.
And follow us on TikTok.
We got a good one. I finally got one to go.
Oh, yeah, you got one with
70,000.
70,000 views?
70?
Yep.
Yeah.
Duct tape a banana to a wall.
Oh, that one.
And
Yep.
the weirdest fingers I've seen in my
Apparently
whole
my
life.
hands are weird. There was comments
Weird
too.
Did you see Pete's fingers? Can I look at this?
Yes,
What
Oh,
the
yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
That's probably what did
So
it.
I did that, and then some guy comments. He goes like, "The fuck's wrong with your hands?" It's like, "The fuck's wrong with your face?"
By the way,
All right.
at the Peppermint, you're not using the restroom.
No,
Definitely not the one back
Not
where
the
we
private
are.
bathroom we have.
No,
Definitely not
I
that.
should just for the sake of it.
No, that's
No.
why.
No, I would never.
Okay, guys, thank you so much, and we'll be back on Wednesday.